Good morning and welcome to Sunrise Daily. We're coming to you live from Port Harcourt. I'm Chamberlain Oso.
Good morning and welcome to the program. I'm Maokwe Ogunyusu.
Amaya Makinde. Today is another beautiful day, 27th in the month, yes, of March.
I know how he does it now.
Well, you know, the new countdown now is the inauguration, right?
I just found out he's doing Chamberlain. You're not the only one who's he's trying to change the topic.
Smart, clever by half. Oh dear. Well, yes, we'll be looking forward to the inauguration, but there are several things that, the new government, look, yes, different states at the center as well. Key in all of this is about development. So whoever comes up at whatever time, no matter the circumstances, they will face or grapple with issues or have to address issues about development. And that's the context at this point, because much as the president may have signed some bills, of course, allowing a lot more states to have a lot more responsibility. I mean, the question of rail, electricity, autonomy for the state houses of assembly. And so, yes, they're expected to do all of that depending on how they approach it. But another huge challenge that affects us all, no matter what you do, is water. Yes, we know that we've grappled with flooding in different states, and there's been huge questions about how we have handled it as a country altogether, including the states and the federal government. And by the way, I don't know what's become of that committee that the federal government set up to come up with a report on what to do about flooding. So still waiting to see what they do and how they approach all of those. But interestingly as well is when you talk about World Water Day, guys, several things come to mind. I know it's been there's several people in this country who don't even know what it means to go to the house, you turn on the water, and you get water supply as it should be, without them having to be their own local government area drilling the boreholes and providing all of those facilities themselves. Because, I mean, our parents always tell us that back in the day that these things were taken with a pinch of salt. Yes, because it was just there normally, and it was very good, clean, potable water. But now we've spent billions. 2021, $700 million from World Bank facility that the government got to see how they can address this. Ministry of Water Resources to several budget allocations, all of this. And you keep asking yourself, so what is the plan? Well, yes, we have a master plan, but where are we in the scheme of things with this master plan? Because several homes, hundreds, millions of homes have no idea whatsoever. So it sounds like a mirage when we talk about all of these things. But it's something that comes to mind because the new governments across board, much as we need to play that role of setting the agenda for all of them, but this particular one, you see, there's certain things that we can't equally just take for granted, as though we'll be flogging a dead horse if we remind them of all of those things. No, this particular one is one of such that it is very important to humanity, and as such, we have to ensure that they pay close attention and address it, as a matter of fact.
Indeed, Chamberlain, I mean, very little to add to, or maybe there's a lot to add, because when you talk about water, there's so many areas that it encompasses. Is it in terms of the management? I mean, we're now in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, and one of the things you immediately notice is that the place is incredibly greener than Abuja, where you and I currently live. Very remarkable, because right now we are now in the middle of the rainy season, so there'll be questions as to how do we harness what it is that nature has so generously given for the benefit of Nigeria's numerous citizens. These are key questions, because so far so good. It doesn't look like a lot of attention. In fact, very little attention, if any at all, has been paid to this over the years. People are now used to drilling their own boreholes. This is without prejudice to a few northern states that are now trying to. I know that Kano and I think also Kaduna also made some investment in ensuring that there is central water. A water treatment system, something that provides water to citizens. I know that a few northern states, I can't remember all of them off the top of my head now, They have tried to do this. Now, whether it has started working and serving the citizens, that's another kettle of fish. It's one thing for them to put, to try. But another question will be what they're doing in the meantime. So while the central water system, everybody's waiting for it. It's supposed to be a grand project, something that delivers waters directly to communities. There'll be the question of what should the communities be using in the meantime while that is getting ready. How are they bridging the gap? Because whether or not government realizes it, it is the responsibility of government to not just secure our lives in terms of the security that they provide, but also in the quality of things that make our lives better. Something as simple as water, because water immediately has an immediate impact on health if you're able to fix it. So these two things are related, and I think is one of the areas where you can immediately begin to judge or assess the social contract that citizens have with their government. Are they interested in something as basic as the provision of water? These are some of the questions that we will ask on World Water Day. I know that our correspondent, Victoria Longjohn, went to one of the areas where are often overlooked, in terms of sanitation. Displaced persons camp. These people have been displaced from Borno and have been in Abuja for quite a while. You ask basic questions as to what is the source of the water that they get there. These are some of the areas where we have neglected. Look, that is some of the pictures that you see there. This is some of the areas where we have neglected to provide for our citizens, to think about something as basic as what will be the source of the water for the people who live in these camps. And you can see that, it leaves very, very little to be desired. And when I was much younger, Chimule, I'll tell you a story. My parents used to enjoy taking us around Nigeria, to where we had relatives. And one of the places we had relatives was Abeokuta. I had an uncle who worked in the waterworks. He was very proud of his work in the waterworks. And he used to consciously take us on a tour of the waterworks in Abeokuta to show us around how water is purified and gets to the homes of the people who live in Abeokuta. Now, I do not know whether the waterworks is still functional. I know that the last time I went to visit him, he now had a well in his house, because to drill a borehole in Abeokuta, as you can imagine, is very rocky, it's very expensive, and water from the waterworks was not reliable anymore. So he had to have a well. And this is somebody who has been very conscious and very proud of the work that he was doing. By the time he moved to the place where he was, he had since retired, was very proud of the work he was doing in waterworks, so much so that every time he came around, he always wanted to take us around to see the process. And that is missing, because that was the first time I was seeing it. I've seen it a few times every time we go to see him. But that's the only place I know that Lagos also has that, but even that now is a key question, is a big question as to how they are managing it. Many people do not know that government has a responsibility to provide water. I don't know, how old were you? Don't tell us about 1970. But how old were you when you realized that, hold on, this is one of the things that government is supposed to be doing, giving us water, one of the things that we should be able to take for granted.
Exactly. We took it for granted when I was growing up. Yeah. There were water pipes like this all over between my home and my primary school. We had, and they weren't this simple. They were really rugged infrastructure that the government put in place. I didn't care how it got there. I opened the tap, the water opened, that's it. That man washing his hands, you literally had to put your hand to the tap and you drank the water without fear or anything. But one of the things, incidentally, we had a conversation around this on Saturday. It was World Water Day on Wednesday last week.
Indeed. And
the main reason for it is to focus on accelerating change to solve the water problem. And of course, it's an everyday, it's an annual event with the UN since 1993. How well we have done since that time is the question mark. Now, we had a conversation around this on Saturday, and one of the things that I took away from it is the infrastructure that powers water. The resource person we had is from the UN, said one of the main challenges we have is that the infrastructure for water is buried. Politicians want to do projects that people can see. So there's a conundrum right there. I mean, the most that they will see is just a tap. In fact, he mentioned an example, I don't know when it was, that they commissioned a water project. It was overhead, and they had to put in water into that tank through, these water tankers. And by the following day, of course, you open the tap, no water.
By water tankers?
By water tankers. I mean, that's what this fellow said. Now, if that is the challenge we have, it raises the question you posted to us, Malcolm, which is, how do we ensure that the proper things are done? Imagine, this, in any and every community. That you don't even have to see. You mentioned Lagos State. I mean, I remember the Lagos State Water Corporation. I think it was a World Bank project or something like that. And it was all over the place. You could see the white and blue colors of the Lagos State Water Corporation all over the state. Where is it now? What infrastructure did we have at the time? And then there's also conversation around whether or not people want to pay for water. Of course, we are paying for water now. People pay for water directly or indirectly. If you drink water that is not clean, you pay for it with your health.
That's true.
Now, exactly how does government want to ensure that not just the right things are not just done or seen to be done, but that it reflects on the lives of the people? You talked about our welfare the other time, and that's exactly what it is. The second thing that I think is important around this is the people problem. How did this infrastructure get to the state where they are now? What's our role in it as a people? I'm not blaming us as a people, because government has a responsibility to ensure maintenance. How much of that was done, given that the infrastructure it cost the country a lot of money, whether states, local government, or federal, whichever one it is. It cost a lot of money. What was the sustainability plan to ensure that this infrastructure do not go under? And then the third critical thing here, ladies and gentlemen, is communication. You want to sell water to the people. That was given, that was a giveaway. People just took for granted that it's free. Now it's a lot more costly to process water, to get water to the people, and they have to pay. Fine. How are you communicating that to people? How are you telling people that, look, water is life, water is important for you, but you need to pay for it? We're already paying. I mean, how much is a sachet of water now? Mm-hmm. You don't even know how clean. You don't even know how clean or not it is.
Sometimes
and exactly. So all these conversations need to be had, and we need to understand.
When last did you buy?
Time has since changed.
When last did you buy sachet of water? Let me start from there.
Don't forget that we know the price of these things.
So that's what I think. This whole thing is. Now that we are talking about it, who is taking notes? Who is paying attention to how important these issues are for Nigerians? And how do we ensure that this new, Chamberlain, you talked about the issues that governments at all levels should pay attention to. What are those issues and who is taking notes?
The minister, I think some time ago, did say that, look, states are largely responsible for this. That's why there isn't any federal water board, according to him. He says that that $700 million facility from the World Bank, states are the ones responsible. In fact, he did say Imo, Delta, Bauchi, Ekiti, Katsina, Kaduna, and Plateau, who were benefiting from the first tranche of the loan. By now, I think we should be asking them questions. It's been some years now ever since then. So if we go do an analysis, what have they actually done with all of this? And so we could start from there in holding all of those states and their incoming governments, the ones that haven't, whichever government is there at the moment, accountable to account for all of these resources, because at the end of the day, it is you and I that are paying for all of this. All right, that's it. We'll take a moment and we will be back to take you through some of the dailies. Stay with us. Guardian newspaper this morning, NLC reconsiders strike as CBN opens vault to banks. Okay. Yeah, I know. You would expect that after that directive, the banks open their doors to customers on weekends, Saturday, Sunday. Now you hear this one. Open your vault to banks. I guess they don't want picketing of offices. Look at the first of the riders. NEC meets tomorrow to review plans, strategies. We may call off strike if Nigerians have access to their monies, says Ajero. Strike will drag economy into a deeper hole, says NECA. Cash scarcity eases as queues disappear gradually from Lagos, Abuja ATMs. Restricts over-the-counter withdrawal to 10,000 naira, 20,000 naira. So there you go. That appears to be what the situation is at the moment as a result of this lead story. So I think lots of people will equally go out there and try and see if this resonates with their experience today, above all else, because yesterday they reported that there were several queues in the banks having been directed to open their doors over the weekend. So even though they had said at some point, well, people were not coming over the weekend, so now, what do you think about that? So there you go. That is The Guardian this morning.
Well, I guess people need to make, they need to make good use of the opportunity that has been given. I did see in Port Harcourt here, though, at a GT bank, people were outside, perhaps trying to get money. I saw some people at the bank, so they should, I don't know if, I do not know if they will need to reconsider. They shouldn't judge by a few banks. They should make sure that there is a thorough assessment of whether or not people are patronizing the banks on weekends. It might be lack of knowledge. It might also be that the banks are in the city centers. Oftentimes people live in the suburbs or live outside of the city and might find it a bit laborious to come to the city center to come and, get their money. But whatever it is, there should be a thorough reassessment before they go back on that particular policy. Let's take a look at this Nigeria for you, and they have this G5 PDP battle enters danger zone as Ward suspends IU. So this is what you find on the front page of this Nigeria. Party Ward ESCO lists anti-party activities, non-payment of annual dues, failure to vote during the March 18 election. Okay? No official reaction for now, says Ologun Agba as the National Publicity Secretary. So you find details somewhere on page 2 of the paper. This is it. Looks like something we've seen before. Looks like a formula that we've seen before. We certainly will be taking up that today. Remember what happened with the APC's Adams Oshomole when his ward members suspended him. Well, take a look at this. ILO, over 160 million children actively engaged in child labor globally. That is also on the front page. Senate presidency, APC may consider Southern Christian senator. Okay? Favors North Central for deputy, Northwest for House of Reps speaker. So that's also there. And then you also see Buhari, Tinubu, Abiodun, others pay tribute to Dia. Yes, General Ladiko Dia passed over the weekend. That's it for this Nigeria.
The Leadership newspaper has this on its front page, of course, talking politics this morning. As INEC foot drags, Fintiri Binani trade tackles over alleged rigging, intimidation in Adamawa polls. Find the details of that story on the front page of on the page 4 of the Leadership newspaper today. APC flag bearer won 16 LGA's governorship results reviewed. Fresh election in Fufore local government, says, I'm hopeful of victory. You're desperate to win, says Fintiri. We'll take appropriate decision on polls soon. That's ascribed to INEC. The details of that you'll find on page 4 of the paper.
Soon.
Yeah, soon. It's an English word.
Sounds like a political word these days.
It's not just a legal word, a political term.
Oh dear.
10th NAS suspense as APC NWC plans NEC for mid-April. Story is on page 7 of the paper. And look at this about Nigeria Air. Headwinds from trapped funds litigation may hinder Nigeria Air's takeoff.
Please, can they just first of all put AC in the airport and make sure that it works before we start to talk about Nigeria Air? I mean,
which of the airports?
At this rate, it will be all of them because it's harrowing experience.
I'm talking about the airports. Someone was telling me about the international airport in Lagos. It's so much smaller now, and people sometimes have to stand to get their business done and stuff like that. I'm wondering how that is. Well, that airport is how old now? Since I think it was very many years ago. I don't know exactly when. It's 78, 79 or thereabouts, as we were told. And what was the capacity at the time that it could take? What was the capacity projected, for it? Those issues were. So yes, you are right. Infrastructure before infrastructure.
Yes, fix the infrastructure and then make sure that a few basic things are running. The escalators work, the lifts and the airport work. The air conditioning in the airport works. I mean, if we don't have a national carrier, we've been on this matter for God knows how long. But these are things that people still have to use in the meantime. So can somebody just pay attention and do their jobs? And the minister in charge ensures that people are doing their jobs. These are some of the basic things we can do. Then, if we are able to get Nigeria air, well and good. But if we're not, please let us not be dying in heat and sweating in our airports, nowhere to sit.
It just seems contradictory because when they talk about concessioning the airports, because governments couldn't run it properly or what to make it a lot
How
more
difficult
efficient.
is it?
And then they talk about Nigeria Air. And so you just wonder,
Okay,
what do we know?
What do we know, right?
Yeah.
This last one, and I don't know, it's cheering, but really I don't know how to put it. It's on the front page of Leadership newspaper, details on page 17. Again, Gombe ranks best in ease of doing business.
Okay.
Sounds good to me, but can we scale that around in 36 places?
Gombe ranks first. The question is, are people going there to do business? That's the question. I think we should ask how many people are taking advantage of that. How is it affecting the unemployment market there?
And what are they doing right?
Exactly.
Let other states,
Even though I thought the global body put aside this ease of doing business because of the corruption cases that were associated with some of them. But anyway, just thinking aloud, maybe we'll have a second look and see on what basis do we do ours and how it reflects on the economy and the immediate environment. Take a look at the next paper, News Direct. Presidential election failure, PDP in turmoil as party suspends AU. Alleges chairman walked for APC against success of PDP during general elections. Says he fails to pay his annual subscription fees. So there you go.
the picture that comes to my mind about, the ward chairman, the ward of party suspending someone as high up as the national chairman of that party is how one cell in a body can literally affect the entire system.
Okay. We'll discuss the political... Sorry, we'll not the medical...
The biological...
I guess they know themselves how they play all these games, so they should know what next steps they all will take about all of these things. But let me just highlight this, guys. 2022 Google poll. We are seeking further redress at Supreme Court. APC legal advisor.
Okay, so they're also in court as well. I'm going to take the Abuja Inquirer for you now, and they have this on their front page. CBN directive, cash rationing persists, but some relief. Okay, so they are noting some relief on the front page of the Abuja Inquirer this morning. NLC meets Tuesday on nationwide protests. So NLC will be deciding whether there will still be a need for the protest given the response that the CBN has had to this particular problem. But as they've noted, the rationing persists, so there is still scarcity. But at least there is some relief. You also see on the front page here, Alex Oti, I have unbreakable bond with Peter Obi, insists reports to the contrary are outrightly mischievous.
Oh dear.
So the question will be, where is this coming from, Chimley? These days, people have to be careful how they say certain things. I know that that's, how he said what he said about winning in Abia might have stirred a bit of controversy. But he said what he said. I mean, he said they were already on the path to victory, but that Peter Obi was able to help them give that, significant lead. So I don't know where, maybe it is on the back of that people are thinking, or maybe it has a strange
read meaning into
they read meaning into
so
it.
Say, well, this is not the intended or the intention.
Yeah.
But meanings will be meanings. Meanings will be in people anyway. So
yeah, meanings will be in people. But I mean, for the people who have the meaning that he did not intend,
now
this is what he's saying.
Up, he clarified it.
I have an unbreakable bond with him. And to say anything to the contrary.
But does this thing invalidate what he said that, yeah, we're still on the path of victory?
Yeah.
And when he came in, he galvanized and energized us.
Yeah.
Like an energizer.
So
and we went on and breath of the tape.
What's wrong with saying that? I don't know. You can make of it what you will. Let us know if you thought there was anything wrong with saying that. But that's the story on the front page of the Abuja Inquirer.
Okay, I don't know what meaning you put to this one on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper, but according to an investigation by the paper, how NIS operatives extort travelers at airports.
Oh dear. 2 airport stories back to back. That NIS is Nigeria Immigration Service, okay? Just in case anyone is wondering.
Yeah. And look at the riders. I paid $100 to get my Virgin passport cleared. Cleared is in parentheses, and it's according to a passenger.
Cleared. So, like...
You know, remember the time that I think the government came up with this policy that, yes, these things won't happen again at the airport, and we applauded it. And I did say, I won't hold my breath as of yet, because I want to wait and see what happens. And I look at this headline. I
mean, what, you know, so you just hear all manner of fees. The other day, we heard something about, you know, a payment you make, is it 1,000 naira to verify your NIN?
Yes.
Yeah. Not too long after that, I got a call.
Which was outrageous.
All the way from the UK, and someone was telling me, oh, I'm trying to renew my passport in the UK. But I have been told that even though I've done my NIN, I've been told that it's not been activated.
So what? You pay for money to activate?
I don't know what So she was asking me, what does that mean? I said, I don't know. I'm going to have to find out. But I've never heard that the NIN has to be activated. What does that mean?
Whoever came up with that policy, it just comes across as you're just trying to extort people.
Yeah.
If you haven't extorted it, you should be fired for not having, if you haven't activated it, or whatever term they use. They're just trying to legalize the extortion, basically.
And this person is all the way in the UK, so if it has not, what should she do?
Then they'll say, okay, what?
I think so. Some officials of government have kicked against that as well. What I would be happy about is for their voices to be louder about this matter, especially concerning this NIN thing, because, I mean, for God's sake,
doesn't make sense.
Is a small child or is a student or
what does it take to activate? Just one click, and then you pay to click, pay to do your...
There's a bit of a good news now. Right. Let's leave that one there. Just this one, Chamberlain. Oil production rises to 1.7 million barrels per day, according to the federal government.
All right, so there you go. That wraps it up with a look at some of the dailies here this morning. We're back in a moment. Stay with us.
Two months after it was flagged off for construction, the Akbabu-Egbeda Road in Emoha local government area of Rivers State is ready for commissioning. Governor Nyesom Wike and his entourage are welcomed to a warm reception with the rare display of the women's wrestling contest. In words, community leaders pledged to pay back the PDP-led administration in the state.
Akbabu-Egbeda, Lincoln Tomok is one of the most important roads you've done for us. The people say I should tell you they are grateful and they will follow you.
Can we not see what is happening? That it is visible to the blind and it is audible to the deaf. Your Excellency, once again, you are welcome to our local government area, your home.
For Governor Wike, the 2 months completion deadline demonstrates the seriousness of his administration to deliver on projects.
The job was started 3-4 months ago, and the job has been completed. Again, that shows how serious, that shows how important we're committed to delivering the dividends of democracy. And I commend the contractor. Yesterday, we were at Igruta, commissioning the internal roads of Igruta. The same contractor. Today, we are here, commissioning the Akbabu-Egbeda, the same contractor. Promises made, promises fulfilled.
Wike again mocked the black uniform protest by the PDP against the presidential election, but says, unlike the February 25th elections, all the ballots in the March 18 governorship and state assembly elections should be cast for the PDP in Rivers State.
So whether you voted for Obi, you voted for Suwaju, I have no problem with any of you. At first, you stood for Southern presidency. But this one we are going on Saturday is one that is our own permanently.
The road is then commissioned. Beyond the advantage of serving as an alternate route to some major roads like the East-West Road, the project will open up an expanse of land for farming and ease the transportation of farm produce.
Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. We're coming to you live from Port Harcourt, and now we're joined by His Excellency Nyesom Wike, Governor of Rivers State. Good morning, Your Excellency. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Chamberlain.
Well, for a lot of people, well, maybe for some members of the PDP, when the news broke yesterday, yeah, they might have seen it coming, but some others wondered what exactly was going on, especially when you look at the video of those who were announcing the suspension of the chairman, Iyocha, which you had mentioned that all was not well with the party. But now that the suspension has been announced, I don't think the national body has made any statement as of yet. What informs the suspension?
First of all, if you're a member of the party, will you be happy the way the party is today? It's in this part of the country where you've seen somebody who has failed woefully and without any conscience would like to still occupy that position. If you're in advanced countries like the sea and you are the head of the party and fail with such colossal failure, first of all, you don't need anybody to tell you to train the towel. So those from his ward in Benue are angry. Why are they angry? Before now, you ought to have left that office. Before now. And people said, oh, we are pushing for you to leave. We have a hidden agenda to make PDP to fail. You remained. PDP didn't win. And it's what was look. You lost your unit as a national chairman of the party. You lost your ward as national chairman of the party. You lost your local government as national chairman of the party. Not only did you take a distant third in the presidential election in your state, you also lost the states as per the governorship election. And they know the antics of Ayu. You know, if you know Ayu very well, he has told us before now that he is very close to the president-elect, Benaswaji Bola Tinubu. He also claims that he is very close to the presidential candidate of PDP. So whoever that emerges, whoever that wins, he has nothing to lose.
He said that?
Yes. Let him challenge me that he never said so.
Is it wrong to be close to both of them?
No, that's not what the point I'm making. The point is that who is that attached to? If this person wins, it's okay. If this person wins, it's okay. How can such person be the leader of the party?
Are you behind the suspension?
I'm in support of the suspension. In fact, if Ayu had left before now, they would have said he left and that was why PDP failed the election. But thank God, he presided over the colossal failure of the party. And so staying there doesn't make sense again. You have to look for a way how the party can be rebuilt. And that is the truth of the matter.
The question, my apologies, the question Chamberlain asked perhaps is against the backdrop of what you said after the announcement was made concerning former Governor Fayose and Governor Tom. You said that whatever comes, that whoever, that people should just take it.
Yes, I have indicated before now that when they said we are fighting about G5, that what will happen this period who must have to take the party back. We cannot allow the party to still be in the hands of people who have nothing attached to the party. Just, I want to occupy position. Tell me, for example, you want to be a national chairman of a party. You don't have your state. So who will take directive from you? What will be a contribution to the party? Because everybody's contribution emanates from your ward to local government to state. For example, now you have lost Benue State. If other states have also lost, which party will you be presided over?
But Excellency, those who announced that suspension, the way they came across a lot of people, as though they were given scripts to go and read, they didn't sound convinced about what they were doing.
That is your own interpretation. I don't know how people look when they're presenting, or how you expect them to look. First of all, you can see anger in their faces. They are not happy. Even you who's not a member of our party, you can't tell me you are happy over the way PDP lost this election, when they are not supposed to have lost election. Election that everybody see that, look, PDP is likely to win this election. You use your own hand to throw it away. Who does that? And you are still answering. You are still a bit.
The PDP. You are saying that the PDP would have won the election when people like you didn't work to ensure that the PDP won the election.
No. We work for the unity of Nigeria. We work for the unity of Nigeria. See, remember, we have said this before.
So the unity of Nigeria, I mean, the interest of the unity of Nigeria did not correlate or was mutually exclusive from the
was
PDP.
Not interested. People are not interested in the unity of the country. If they were, they wouldn't have done what they did. Take, for example, we came out and said, look, by our constitution of the party had always said political positions and party positions shall be zoned, right? Now, you remember, when we started the issue of national chairman, it was argument by the North saying that no, we agreed, okay, zone the party chairman to the North, and which we did. It was even IU who said, if the presidential candidate emerges from the North, I was going to resign, knowing fully well that yes, it had been our convention that the presidential candidate and the national party chairman cannot come from the same zone. Now, they jettison the constitution for their own selfish interest. I'm coming. Jettison the constitution for their own selfish interest. Now, when even that occurred, we said, okay, it's even too bad. It's even too bad the way it is. However, we couldn't manage, to say, okay, it's too bad, but let's see how we can, manage it. Take this back to this other area. They said, no. Now, when you have seen that, the ruling party, which is All Progressive Congress, their governors came out for the first time in the history of this country, came out to say, listen, we have occupied this position for 8 years. And the way Nigeria is now, it means that, look, allow the other zone to produce the governor, the president, for the unity, for the inclusiveness, for the oneness of Nigeria. That is the ruling party. And they did it. And that is everybody, you can imagine how the whole result went. Everybody saw it, that look, there is danger. The wave then was saying, look, the South should produce the
Your
president.
Excellency, I'm sure that a lot of Nigerians know the backstory and they know what you mean. But isn't it double speak to say, to work against, because you say you worked for the unity of Nigeria, which means that by your own definition, you didn't work for the PDP for the presidential elections.
I prefer unity of Nigeria to party.
Okay.
Because I assume you're talking about party, and Nigeria is destroyed tomorrow.
Is it any surprise then, that the party didn't win at the end of the day when you and your colleagues did not work for the party because you said you want the unity of Nigeria, but then to now say, you lost the elections, you lost his polling unit. Isn't that double speak?
No,
and then say, Senate claims he would resign.
No, it is not double speak. First of all, you were warned that what you are intending to do will lead us into problem by we not winning election. First of all, if you intentionally jettison the constitution of your party, the ground norm of your own party, then it means that you are headed to the destruction.
Yeah, but some things are outside the control of political, at least the way we see it. A political actor can only campaign. He cannot force the people.
No, it's not.
Just a moment, Your Excellency.
Okay.
He cannot force the people to thumbprint for his party. In Benue State, you know that the Labour Party won in Benue State. Would he have, forced his people to vote for him or vote for his political party because it's from the place?
The Labour Party won. Who took second? Who took second? APC. Or certain candidates. There were certain candidates. So if you watch the pattern of voting, you will understand that this is the yearning of the people.
You blame him for that?
Why not?
You blame him when the PDP couldn't agree on zoning?
Who is PDP at that point? He was the one who still managed everything. Look, at least as a governor, I know the workers. I know what happened. Take, for example, you set up a zoning committee today. Tomorrow, you open that all people should come and buy form. What have you done at that stage? When everybody has now bought from, you now came back. So, well, since people have bought from, there's no need.
Which one, the autumn committee?
Yes. What happened? I mean, you think that people are not intelligent. You think they are too smart. How could you have set up a zoning committee today to go and look into zoning of the office of Mr. President? Then in the next 2 days, or in the next 24 hours, he opened up the gate that people should come and buy form.
Shouldn't Governor Tom be answering questions about it because he headed the committee?
That was what they were, the hands were tied. What do you do at that stage? Somebody has picked from. You want to claim they should withdraw?
But part of the...
Knowing that is their strategy. Thinking that they can play on everybody. And still where we are.
Part of the accusation is against people like you.
Yes.
They say that it was because even the presidential candidate of the PDP, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, said that he would have stepped down if the party had agreed to specifically zone it to the south.
You see, let me tell you, he would have stepped down. As an elder statesman, what was his view then? And you see, these are the things we don't like. If he would have stepped down, if the party had, when you have set up a strategy where the party cannot zone, they were the people who refused the party to zone. He was one of the major opponents of zoning, which is against the spirit of the Constitution.
Yeah, but if
that's what I mean. So him saying that he would have stepped down, whom is he talking to?
Was it zoned by the party fully to the south?
No, because they sabotaged it. They didn't want it to be zoned.
But I asked that question against the backdrop of your constitution, the party's constitution that you talked about.
Yes.
It's the first time that PDP, as an opposition party, was going into an election against a party who had spent 8 years in office. Yes. So it was like, the first time that PDP was finding itself in that situation. Just a second, sir. So it wasn't the APC, it wasn't the PDP that had an 8-year run. It was the PDP. That's why in 2007, the election was zoned, the PDP naturally zoned to the north in 2007 because a southerner had spent 8 years. This current 8 years wasn't by the PDP, it was by the APC.
No.
Maybe that was the
first of all, you're also wrong in your analysis. This argument is neither here nor there.
I asked that because I just wanted to...
Let me clarify you. Let me clarify you. When you say southerner...
about the southern...
No, listen. 2011, Jonathan won election to 2015. He lost the election in 2015. Right? And then Buhari came. Now, since Buhari was there, PDP agreed. Look, let us now zone this to the north. Right? So that there will be a balance. That all the major contenders from the two major political parties are from one zone. That was done in 2019. And that was how nobody from the south ran. All the candidates that ran for that election are all from the north. Now, in 2023, knowing that the APC has stayed for 8 years, what ordinarily should be that the power should go to the south. And therefore, PDP ought to zone it to the south. If the argument is, since it is not president that was the president, we are not talking about president of PDP. We are talking about president of Nigeria. If that argument, if you say this argument, it means that even the next election, for example, PDP will still zone it in the north because they have not produced president. That's the argument you are making.
No, I'm asking because is that what the constitution of your party says?
No, so what I've said, I said positions should be zoned. Political positions and party offices.
Let me ask you.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Now, in this case, you have abandoned that provision that said party office and political position should be zoned. That's the point I'm trying to make. But if you continue with this argument that the president did not come from PDP, then it means that the position must always be kept in the north because they have not produced president through but that's the argument you're trying to make.
Well, Excellency, the point that my colleagues are making, part of which is why I asked about the autumn committee.
Yes.
When you say his hands were tied,
yes,
it was a unanimous decision that it should be zoned to, and that anyone who is interested should go for it. And I don't remember.
No, it was not. That is the point I'm making. It was not a unanimous decision
by the committee.
Yes, it was not. As at that time, people have brought form. What do you expect the committee to do? It was all state managed. The point we are making, why did you not set up this committee before now, knowing that this is what the constitution of the party has said?
But the members accepted to be in that committee. Were they not going to make any difference?
The point I'm making, having set up the committee, you are giving them, okay, within 1 week, you bring a report, right? Then when they bring the report, you can now say, okay, deliberate on it, and now say, oh, okay, this is what was accepted, or we don't accept this. Now you open up. But you set up a committee today. Tomorrow, you start selling funds to members. So what is the essence of the committee that set up?
Let me ask you a very specific question. If the zoning committee had advised the party to zone it to the southeast, more specifically, would you have been in support of it?
Well, once the party has taken a decision, and I know that's from the south, why not?
Even though it would have excluded you?
It doesn't matter. The point I'm making, first of all, when it's done to the south will sit down and say, listen, are we going to go to the southwest? Are we going to go to the southeast? Are we going to go to the south-south? It has always been done that way. Arguments will come up. Whether it suits me or not, but the party will take a decision. It has nothing to do with you. No, it has nothing to do with that. What we're saying, zone it first to the south. And then we'll now come into, so okay, looking at the whole thing, we think the southeast, we think the southwest, we think the south-south, as the case may be. But just saying that, look, being too clever by thinking that you can, tie everybody's hand and do what you did, and this is the result of it today. But that is not even the point. The point is, you haven't done this. What have you done? To say, okay, I can make sacrifice for this party. I can make sacrifice for this party. It is too weighty. It is because of impunity, arrogance, that has led us where we are today. What's arrogance? Believing that they had already won the election when the election had not even been conducted. And so are you in his, and those who were regarding him, I've had no. These governors, they are not just looking for Ayu to go. They want us to fail the election. So if we remove Ayu, then we are fell into the trap and we'll lose the election. Fine, and Ayu didn't go. Fine, and they have they won?
You said you're in support of those in his ward, who are suspending him. Are you also teleguiding them?
Teleguiding what?
The people in his ward who have gathered.
I have told you I'm going to support whatever action they have taken. I didn't say I will not support.
No, but
have I ever said anything that I say I'm going to do this?
What do you mean by support? Can you define that?
Supporting all ramifications. Supporting all ramifications.
Financially?
Whatever you may think. Supporting all ramifications that I should leave the office.
But that means...
What is that going to benefit you now?
If he leaves.
To the party. He cannot. He doesn't have what it takes.
So you are behind this turmoil? Not
necessarily behind. When you say behind, I'm not from Benue State, but I'm happy. And now that Benue State have done it, then it will now come out to say we're in support of it. I should know that people like me will be support of it. And when I say you have no capacity to lead the party, it's very obvious. Look, we did congresses, primaries. We raised about 12 billion naira. Yes. Within 1 month, 12 billion finished. And people came and would now say, where is their money? You are very corrupt.
I still remember the visuals of the night of the day when, Senator Ayu emerged as the national chairman of your party. You were behind him. You were right behind him when he was making his speech, and you were one of those supporting.
Okay, let me take it. So, if I'm behind you, and you do the wrong thing, I should still be behind. I shouldn't come out to say, hey, what you are doing is not what we expected you to do.
You just realized that he doesn't have capacity?
Listen to how I emerged. So you know very well. We met as governor. Now, when Secondus was thrown away, who supported too? It doesn't matter. He started misbehaving. I would say, no, you can't lead us to election. Because I will know what you want to do. See, so many people use this position as contract, where they can use it to preside and make money. Not necessarily how the party is going to survive. Just like Ayu's own case. What is Ayu looking for? Just money. I was told this severally. Let him challenge me. Let him challenge me that it is not correct. I have challenged him several that you took money from a governor. You never told the National Working Committee. You see, it's not a question of how did Ayu emerge? How did he emerge? When we agreed, Ayu is not somebody as I've had any relation. In fact, it was his governor who even told me to invite him to come and commission project. I don't know you before. So I invited him. Now, in course of interaction, maybe he has some, some people intellectually may be sound. But when you put them with that, it becomes a different thing. Now, when we met, and Otom said, look, you could vouch for the man. Without asking him, you are the governor. We have agreed that, look, no chairman should come where the governor from the state, because it's always bringing some crisis. He said, look, you could vouch for him. It was okay. If you can vouch for him, we have to, you are a colleague. We have to respect your views. And that was why nobody opposed Ayu. But again, look at it this way. The man who vouched for him is the man you have now gone to preside over to suspend him. He can tell you that the man is completely, when he saw somebody is...
so this is tit for tat?
No, it is not that. It is not that. The point I'm making, it is not that. What I'm trying to say, first of all, could you even, assuming you have conscience, assuming, already your state is bad. What I mean, the state of the party is bad. And instead of you to see how you can bring the healing process, and you are taking actions that will be dividing the party the more. So nobody, no right-thinking person will sit down and say, what is this man doing? Is he really interested in the building of our party, or he just want to destroy our party?
The position of the G5 governors.
Yes.
Ogwanyi lost, Otom lost,
yes.
Ikbazu lost,
yes.
Apart from Makinde, who secured the return ticket, who won his election.
Yes.
Wouldn't you say to a large extent their positions backfired?
It's not true. In fact, position we took worked. Now you see, in anything you do, like Otom said, I will make sacrifice. Even if I lose my seat, I don't bother. But that for equity, fairness, and justice, that presidential position should go to the South. If he had lost in course of that position, no problem, but history will be with him.
He lost not just his seat, but his candidate in the PDP also lost.
It doesn't matter if that is as a result of the position he took, but first of all, that there's equity, there's fairness, there's justice. You don't take position just because of your own personal interest. In course of taking a decision, you may not be the one that will benefit from it.
But didn't that say that, doesn't that show that the people didn't actually support his stance across board?
How?
Him losing his
the presidential election. Who won in the presidential election? In the better way?
No, that doesn't directly. How does that directly benefit?
No, see, don't take personal local election to the national issue.
No, but you expect that his own personal election.
Yes.
You also took the election in Rivers State closer because you wanted your candidate to win, and he won.
No, the matter of fact, I won, or we won here. It is not why you should say he lost because the people were not.
I'm trying to say that they take those elections personal.
Yes.
So if you lose the personal election,
yes,
it's a more direct hit.
Well, we never discuss about local election. All we discuss was national election. Yes, that's what we discuss, national election.
I thought politicians look at big across board.
That becomes your local problem. What we are discussing, how will we begin to talk about how will you win? Are you sure you win your Senate? Are you sure the person win House of Reps? No, those are local issues. We are talking about national election, about the presidency of this country. After who will be governor of Benue State? Is from Benue State. Who will go to Senate? From Benue State. So it doesn't bother us. But assuming that we are talking about somebody who will be governor of Benue State, that any other Nigerian, they begin to worry. Yes. But in this case, we are talking about presidential election. And look at it, every state that we had support, the PDP lost. Oh, mention, in Plateau they took third, in Edo they took third, in Cross River State they took third, in River State they took third. Yes, mention all the states.
Your Excellency.
So if you are saying that what we did had no impact, then you will not be fair.
So the G5 extends beyond the 5 of you?
Why would it be only the G5 be just government to have integrity group? The G5 government are members of integrity group. You've seen integrity, you have seen people like Jang, you've seen people like Pastor Jerry Gara, you've seen people like Donald Duke, you've seen people like Mimiko, you've seen people like and in Lagos, Bode George. They are not G governors. We are members of integrity group. And so look at the effect, look at the loss.
Okay. All right, well, we'll come back to this conversation in just a moment, so do stay with us. Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Welcome to you live from Port Harcourt. Your Excellency, well, speaking about your party, I'm probably looking at it from a bigger picture. There's a lot of conversation now about Labour Party. In fact, several people suggest, enthusiasts of Labour Party, that the PDP seems to be losing ground, and given this fresh wave of what's going on, nobody knows how long it will take the party to get themselves back, and they're losing grip of national issues, even in the mindset of the people, that Labour Party may be the next one to occupy the seat in the minds of people, and probably even take it higher.
Because of the presidential election. So you are not talking about Labour Party. After the presidential election, what has happened to the Labour Party? After the presidential election, what has happened to the Labour Party?
They're still in court, though.
That is a different thing. That's a different thing. What we're talking about, the election has come and gone. That's a judicial process. But people will be in office until the court says otherwise, right? So I don't think anybody talking about Labour Party. Just what after the presidential tribunal, assuming they are not successful, whether you hear about the Labour Party again. See, to talk about the party in this country, to build a party is not a cheap affair.
Yeah, but given what they achieved in less than how long? A year?
What they achieved had to do, that I told you about the waves. You see what they achieved? First of all, that, look, presidency should go to the south. 2, they felt a younger person. That was all. After the presidential election, tell me what other impact.
Is it just a younger person? They wanted a person of integrity.
What is integrity? Define integrity. Define integrity. Is integrity by looking at you? I don't want to go into all those kind of things. Oh, who has been found guilty of being corrupt? You just look at you and say, oh, I think you are corrupt. Perception. I think you are not corrupt. What is that? How should that influence me?
But if 6 million plus people
yes.
took a stance and said, we just want something different.
6 million people out of how many millions?
Compared to those who contested the elections and what they achieved because people thought they didn't have any structure, it's just a one-off. Isn't this a major statement?
That is the mistake you are making. What that means is that, look, Nigerians were yearning for change. It has nothing to do with the party. Frankly speaking, the performance of APC is not something anybody would think about. That is the truth of the matter. It has nothing to do, the government has not satisfied the people. And people needed a change. And that is the truth. It has nothing to do with, look, they compared, look, apart from Aswaju, Atiku, and what's the name, and Obi, there's no other people, anybody contesting anything that showed interest of running election. It's not necessarily going to pick form. You understand me? Some people didn't even move out from their own state or their own local government, so they run a presidency just when they buy one spouse, one slot or a space in the channels, in Arise, in the AIT. That's where they run their own election. Apart from that, so people were yearning for look, we are tired of this party, they've not been able to do this and that. But again, the same Nigerians voted for the party.
Your Excellency, the question Chamberlain asked, looking at the bigger picture, is against the backdrop of the fact that the PDP hasn't really been the opposition party was expected to be.
Yes.
And the build-up to the elections, yes, if anything, even divided the party further.
Yes.
Now, given this suspension of the national chairman, yes, and what you're talking about, reviving the party, resetting the party, and all of that, yes, what should we expect, or should Nigerians hold their breath at all of hope that the PDP is going to play a significant opposition party role, given what you just said now about the APC, which is returning to power?
Now, when you say opposition, for you to play that role, the leadership of the party must be one that has the capacity to do that, or interested. You may have capacity, but are you interested to do it? Interest is a different thing, and having capacity is a different thing. I can be a great footballer, and they put me in the match. Am I committed? Because it's not wicked that we know that he plays good football. What happened today? Luck last time was not even, you can see there's no commitment. But that does not mean that he's not a good footballer. Unfortunately for us, the leadership we have today is a leadership that's not interested. It's a leadership that's just interested what they can acquire, what they can amass.
But this started as far back as 8 years ago.
How?
The PDP hasn't played any significant opposition role since 2015.
Why would it so? What is opposition? Who has spoken against the administration more than we have spoken?
The civil society has spoken a lot more.
No, what we are saying is that when you say we have not done anything, take for example my humble self as a governor. Is there any time we have not spoken against this government? Does opposition mean that you go and carry gun?
At the end of the day...
So when you say you have done, what do you expect us to do? We have challenged federal government policies. We are going to court to challenge federal government policies. That is anti-people. Some of us have taken our neck to say, look, these things are this. Is it I was only state that challenged the federal government on VAT? Right? Most of the governors, even in my party, right away were against me.
That's the issue, Your Excellency.
But that one talking about, you see, that one saying that people, it's not everybody that can survive. So many people don't like to hear the word opposition. They believe that, take for 2019, most of the governors sold out to APC. And that's how they won the election. Because they were threatening, if you do this happens, EFCC may come after you. Yes. Not everybody can stand it. But they came to me, I said, no, I will not allow that. And that's why they didn't get 25% in my state. It doesn't matter whether you bring the EFCC after me or not. And that was why in that 2019 election, you can see the weight of federal government in this state.
When you say that a party didn't get 25% because you didn't support them, what do you really mean?
No, the point was saying that at least it's expected that, look, we want to have a spread. Right?
Yeah.
And a governor could compromise it. You can compromise it. It's true. You can compromise it. But I said, no, I will not be a party to that. I will not be a party to that. And that is why, you see, when I see some governors are talking, and when I see them talking about party, I just feel myself, who are these characters?
Did you compromise the elections, the 2023 elections?
Why, no, I did not compromise.
On behalf of the APC?
It's not APC. It's about unity of Nigeria.
I know, but at the end of the day, the APC won in Rivers State.
Well, that's what our people wanted it.
Is that what you mean by unity of Nigeria?
Yes, they wanted a certain president. That's the point I'm making.
So whether it was APC or Labour, unity of Nigeria, that's how you describe it.
Look at the results in the whole South. That should tell you. Take, for example, in the South-South. What happened? Look at the result. That tells you what the people are talking about. It has nothing to do with you as a person. And that's why when we finish the national election, everything changed too.
Your Excellency, I'm just...
Because that is not local election.
I'm just a little curious. This is a party, the APC, was not able to secure 25% in 2019.
Yes.
In 2023, they won in Rivers State.
Yes.
They didn't just...
Because the Southern was contested.
Not by compromise.
No.
Not by manipulation.
What manipulation?
Because you just said the governor can manipulate the process.
I never said so. I said the governor can compromise. Compromise does not mean manipulation.
Okay, can compromise the process.
Yes.
Okay.
Compromise.
So nothing of such happened in this case?
Nothing. You see, you people stay away and you just speculate this happened. And again, that tells you...
That's what we're asking.
No. Let me tell you. First of all, I didn't come out to campaign for PDP. Yes. I didn't hide it that I was not going to campaign for them. So it's not as if you played any game. They know. I was not part of. I was not even a member of the campaign council.
Your Excellency,
they also did not come
so
here for campaign.
let us drop this compromise talk. I do not know, because one of the things that has stood out in this election has been the introduction of beavers.
Yes.
And then the IREV.
Yes.
The major complaint against the presidential elections this year was that the IREV did not work. That as people were voting, they were not able to transmit to that platform where people could see immediately what was happening, what had happened at the polling units. But much later, the results were uploaded to the IREV. And for a number of people, they have raised objection with what happened in their polling units and what was transmitted to the IREV platform in Rivers State.
Yes.
I do not know whether you've heard this complaint and if it's something about this.
When the matter is before the court,
yes,
you don't need to go into it. That's now subject of litigation. I see that's why I allow the court to look into the matter as complained.
No, this is not. This is without prejudice to what it is.
Why you
I'm not asking.
You have said people have complained. Whether they are right or not, how will I know?
But have you heard the complaints? I
don't listen to everything. There's nobody that has won an election where you don't hear one complaint or the other. Having said this is the complaint, you have now gone to tribunal. Let the tribunal look at it based on what you have complained.
But is the state elections...
let us not... the problem we have is that my interest, your interest. In most of the occasions, when I watch the media, you can see their interest. And that is why they don't get at the true facts. You see, forget about what social media says.
No. Your Excellency, this is not social media.
For example, just this morning, someone sent me a text. Governor, did you say this? I said, Obi won the election. So someone just this morning, and I said, where did I say this? But you see, somebody was worried. You said this. I've not replied him. I didn't talk. I just laughed. I said after this program, I will call the person. But these are the kind of things I talk about. If you don't verify, you may go with it. You may go with it. So the issue of what they uploaded is not what is transmitted or what is transmitted. Yep. It's a subject of litigation now.
No, but
so it will not be proper for me.
Is the one in the state before the tribunal? Yes.
No. The president, you go to court based on complaints you have state by state.
So I'm not sure the states have it's before the tribunal.
What I'm saying is this. She was asking me about the presidential election, is it not? And I was saying that having gone to the tribunal, you are challenging election results probably. This state. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Now that they have gone to court, I'm sure most of the states are being affected. Most of the states are being mentioned as those states we are challenging. And so it will not be proper for me now to start discussing...
For the presidential, granted.
Yes.
But for the states, there's a statement that I think they are called party governorship candidates.
Okay.
And part of the statement here says that all over the state, this is paragraph 10, PDP members in the company of security men allocated votes to PDP candidates by seizing the beavers' machines in Oyigbo, local government area, Ward 10, Unit 5. The presiding officer, Beatrice Abigail, had signed and sealed the result sheet showing that he, that's the candidate, won with 67 votes. APC 2 votes, PDP 4 votes. The result was falsified and the new result uploaded on the IRF portal allocated.
No longer what the result is not what is in the IRF. So look at what the result is not what is in the IRF. So look at it. Okay, take for example his own polling unit, his own abonnement in Harcourt local government. Let's start from there. Did they also manipulate their unit? Did he win? Let us start from that. Let's not begin to talk about another local government. Take from your own local government. What happened in your local government where you are present? What happened in your community abonnement? What happened in your own ward? What happened in your own unit?
Yeah, but listen. Assuming that was the case, we've seen people lose results and then they win.
Why not hold on? Let us start from there. You are not popular in your community. You are not popular in your family unit. You are contesting election. You are the one contesting election in your own direct unit.
Yeah, but things can be.
No, this is how you can come to an analogy. When somebody is making a statement, if we need to just oppose and say, listen, can this be true? Can this not be true? If I can lose where I'm contesting as a governor, I want to be governor. In my own family unit, I lost that unit in that election. I'm now complaining that in another local government where I won, they decided to say that.
Your Excellency, there is precedent for that. There is precedent for that. In 1999, yes. President Olusegun Obasanjo did not win in the Southwest, yes. but he eventually went on to become the president.
You are making... No. You see, Southwest is a big area. I'm talking about, first of all, Southwest, you're talking about 6 states. I'm talking about, for you to even convince people, do you know where Abonima is?
There are a few governors.
No, I'm asking, do you know where Abonima is? See, Abonima alone, it does the compound. What? Then we're talking about unit where he voted. Let's start from there. He couldn't win there. He didn't win his ward. He didn't win his local government. Then, let's now go to other local government. Harcourt party, Dumo Lulu had been running for governorship since 1999. He had been running for governorship since 1999. There's no election period that he has never run an election.
Is it wrong?
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying, this popularity, where has it taken him to? Where has it taken him to? And you see, parties are, if you say winning election in Rivers State, for example, Harcourt party, to stand PDP in Rivers, how?
Okay.
How? I mean, people just, sometimes you want people just go on. There's nobody that has lost election apart from Jonathan, who had conceded. Yeah. Even when the result was not announced. Mention one person who had lost election without saying it was rigged.
Let me ask you.
Mention one.
Let me ask you.
Mention
both at the state and the federal.
Mention one person.
Well, we read comments of Senator Tessin Forain. We read comments from Tessin Forain,
who congratulated Governor Seyi Makinde.
Yes.
Senator Boasa.
Do you know the reason behind that? It's not everything you see. You don't know what has happened behind. You don't know.
Well, you only know the statement.
Fine.
Did something happen behind?
When you have something happen, why are you always going to negative?
You say you don't know what has happened behind. We're asking you.
Let me tell you, there are some states where people can say, listen, let everything be one piece, one progress, one state to move forward. Well, what are we wasting time? It's all of us. Whether you're the governor, all you're talking about the interests of the state. So the president is okay. I've listened to my elders. I've listened to my leaders. I congratulate you. That's what I'm saying. It's not about something going behind.
Can we scale that to the national level?
Yes, sir.
What you just said now.
You say what?
Can we scale what you just said? The example you just
said. It also depends on those who are involved. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Because, there is no doubt that at no time is it more expedient than now for us to talk about national cohesion.
That is what we're saying. It depends on those who there are those who believe that there's nothing you can do, that they are the one that won this election and that they cannot accept it. There's nothing you can do about it.
Let me ask you.
There's nothing you can do about it. There's no, after this period, I cannot be president.
Your Excellency, let me ask you.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Would you describe yourself as a Democrat?
In what sense?
somebody who believes that, other parties should be able to thrive, somebody who believes in the freedoms guaranteed by democracy,
yes.
The freedom to,
Yeah, that's what is competition, no?
Yes. Do you believe in the competition engendered by democracy?
Why not? If I don't believe that, why would I be talking about other parties? No, see, if you're not, we have allowed for competition here. I competed with somebody, I won. So why would I not?
Is the competition always fair? Do you believe in the rules of the game?
I'm not the umpire. The umpire sets the rules and you follow. If you violate the rules, there's sanction for it.
There are people who believe that politicians always work to subvert the rules.
Like I said, because those they want to win, they will not win. You see, one thing must know, where there are 3 or 4 people contesting the election, people have different kind of mindsets. People say, look, as far as I'm concerned, it is more okay that I think can do this work. As far as I'm concerned, Chamberlain is the best for this job. As far as I'm concerned, Makinde should wait, right? Next time. Now, if it doesn't go the way those people think about Moape, they have something to say. Just look at the analysis. Sometimes you wonder where they get these facts from. I watch television and I see analysis. I say, come on, where are they getting this fact from?
Okay.
You just conjecture things and just come up.
Now, this one is not conjecture. If I can move a little bit away from politics to some of your infrastructure developments. Former Governor Rotimi Amaechi said that his administration built 5 flyovers at 1.9 billion naira, but you're building same at 12 billion naira per flyover. He says even if you adjust inflation for 100%, that should be approximately 4 billion. Why this huge disparity?
Did he tell you the flyovers? So that we will now know what is the meter of the flyover. It just don't come. If I'm doing a flyover of 1 kilometer, and you're doing a flyover of 400 meters, for example, will it be the same? As at what time did he do this flyover? What was the exchange rate then? The exchange rate was 150 to $1. What's the exchange rate today? What's the exchange rate today? He built the monorail. He paid 50 billion of not up to 2 kilometers. A monorail that's not even finished. 50 billion. I've never built one flyover of 12 billion, and it's not correct.
How much?
And in any case, who is the contractor? Ask him who's the contractor.
So in order to avoid fake news, how much was the cost?
It depends. There are some that 8.something billion. Yes.
None whatsoever is 12 billion.
It's not true. It's not true. And again, like I said, will you compare Julius Berger to the kind of contractors he's talking about? Who doesn't know that Julius Berger is expensive and you get the quality job that you want? Go and see the flyover built by Julius Berger and the one he said, I don't even know the one he said he built. As I sit here now, I can mention the 12 flyovers built within 4 years and all done by Julius Berger. So it's not enough for you to say, I built 5 flyovers, each 1.9. What's the flyover? Which means he doesn't even know the state of his economy. He doesn't even know the state of the economy. He doesn't even know that what was the exchange rate at the time he said he built.
So that now? I think he mentioned the one in Eliozu, if I remember properly.
He didn't be he completed it. He did not be, he completed it.
Well,
he should be able to.
Government is a continuum.
No. If you say no,
you don't believe that government is a continuum.
That is not what I'm saying. Is that if he said, look, we built when I came, this flyover was going. How much was it? I completed it. But when you come and tell people I built flyover 1.9, you know it's telling lies.
What about Birikwere?
How much is it? A flyover up to 400 meters. When the people came and had the amount of money, they were shocked. The most extravagant government I've ever met. Our chief of staff from 2007 to 2011. Go and see the Economic Advisory Committee he set up. Go and see their report on the projects. Not me, I didn't say it. He said it, headed by Professor Nini Briggs. Go and see. Damning report published by the Economic Advisory Council, which he set up. You see, the point is that you can't take what you see now. The development is so overwhelming. It's so overwhelming, whether anybody likes it or not.
Your Excellency,
I am not, if he tells you, I do this was the contractor, let us know. Who is that contractor? What's the name of the contractor? And I'm talking about Julius Berger Building, so you are comparing yourself to me. How can that be? Can't you see what is going on? That for you to use Julius Berger to build 12 flyovers, ask the federal government.
Your Excellency, just before you came on the program, my colleagues and I were talking about the importance of water. It is something that River State is abundantly blessed with. It's even remarkable that water is implied in the name rivers. But I'm just wondering, because we were talking about it, and I was talking about how the infrastructure that provides something as basic as water is usually buried underground, and it's not a favorite of politicians.
That's not correct.
It's just a moment, because people oftentimes don't see it. I'm just wondering, if water has been something as
ask questions.
Yes, that's what we're asking you.
In this infrastructure is water in. Go and see what we're doing about them. 2 World Bank loan. Luckily, we did not award the contract. World Bank does not just give you money. They supervise it. The entire Port Harcourt is being connected now to water. Go and see what they're doing. So that's what I say. Like you said, nobody sees it. But I'm talking about World Bank, not the state government, but had the approval of the federal government. That approval was not when I became government. It was there before I came. But it was in my period that we are implementing it. So go to you will see. Or if I
is it finished? Are they done?
They're still working. They gave it about 3 international companies. In fact, as you go on the road, sometimes we quarrel. You finish doing drainage and this. I see people digging away all kinds of things. And sometimes, why are you doing this? Why are you dirtying the road? That's the water project that's going on in the entire city. So like I said, it is not something people see. And so it becomes difficult for you to say, oh, they didn't have water. No,
yeah. But in the meantime, what do they use? In the meantime, are you concerned that could also, add to your health?
If we're not concerned, why would they allow we're also paying part of the money? So why would you agree to such a loan if we're not concerned? Because we are concerned, and that is why we accepted the loan. If we're not concerned, why would we go and
What I'm saying is, in the meantime, what are they using?
You have a problem. People use their own personal borehole and the rest of it. And we felt that is not good enough. That also the public should have water. Even if I can provide water, does not mean that an ordinary person in the street can provide water. And that's what we are doing.
Beyond the World Bank project, the concern is, excuse me, still on this water issue. Excuse me.
Maybe you need water too.
So, what are the challenges you saw? I mean, you have seen in the past 8 years or so that you've been in government as the major challenge to getting potable water for people, and beyond the World Bank program. Again, what's the government done about it or is doing about it?
Generally, from what I found out. Generally, I see that government, which is not supposed to be, government believes that, well, anybody can provide water for himself or for herself, which is not the right thing. It is the responsibility of government to provide water for the people, particularly those at the rural areas. So that impression has always been there, which is wrong. And that's why we have said, look, this has to change. This has to change. And how do we change it? We must have to let people know that it's a responsibility of government to provide basic, at least that basic thing that people require, such as water. So it is not only peculiar in this state, generally. I can tell you that. But some people are taking the challenge. Look, this is not acceptable. Water is basic. And as a government, we need to provide our people this. So it's a challenge I have discovered.
What challenges have you encountered, knowing, of course, that River State is like some other South states, is a low-bed state. Consequently, that might be a challenge, isn't it?
It's not in all areas. It is not in all areas. It's not the same. It's not the same. Whatever the challenges are, experts have come in to solve those problems. And what is the business of government is to provide the necessary funds to make sure that these challenges are resolved. Right? Take, for example, we used to have a water listing at Urumoda. In those days, you wake up, you just open the tap, water. Nobody talks about, what do you call it, borehole and the rest of it, generally. But all of a sudden, nobody talks about provision of water, generally. You see, and the water tanks are dried. I will ask a question. And this is from government to government. From government to government. I will say, look, this is not the best. Water is basic. And whatever can be done, we should do it. And that's why we have to go for this loan to just through the World Bank as approved by the federal government. But you can't take a loan from the World Bank without the federal government, Federal Executive Council endorsing it. So if it was not a major challenge to us, we will not go to that extent.
All right. Your Excellency, you're winding down, but when we return, we'll review some activities that took place during his tenure. Don't go away. Come back, it's home stretch now on Sunrise Daily. We're with His Excellency Nyesom Wike, Governor of Rivers State. Well, you're winding down, getting set to hand over to your successor. And the EFCC has said that they're keeping close tab on governors, after which we suggest that they will be inviting some of them for questioning. Are you bothered that they have an eye on the governors, which means they may also invite yourself for questioning?
This is not my first time appearing before EFCC. I'm not going to run away simply because EFCC is going to invite me or invite some other people.
Do you expect to be invited?
Why should they invite me?
What if they say they have dossier?
Why should they? Or
why should they? If they have anything, they can call me. I have no problem. I will answer. So I'm not going to, some people will run away a day before the handover. I will be in the handover ground. So if they invite me, I will honor the invitation. I'm not afraid.
Okay. Well, there's something we stated earlier, and talking about states. I'm trying to remember the number of states that are said to have a huge public debt profile, that has brought Nigeria to up to, say, 44.06 trillion naira at the third quarter of last year. And, of course, Rivers State, Lagos State, and quite a number of states also fall into that category. Is that something that bothers you?
Let me clear this. I believe that some of the publications have been political because I can't believe when they say states that are highly indebted. Where they get the figure from? Take, for example, the only two banks we deal with is Zenith Bank and Access Bank. As I speak to you, every kobo that is being owed to Access Bank and Zenith Bank will be liquidated by June. It's about, Access Bank is about 4.something billion. Access Bank is about 5.something billion. So when they talk about this loan, I begin to wonder, is it loan taken during the military government? Because when they talk about this loan, 200-something billion, 100-something billion, where is this coming from?
So from your own records, what is the debt burden?
I have told you there are two banks we deal with. I mentioned the Access Bank and Zenith Bank. We are not paying any of those banks up to 7 billion naira. And it will be liquidated by June.
So the River State government doesn't have any foreign debt at all?
That's what we're saying. I have never collected any foreign debt.
Does the River State government have a debt, on
I do know that there are debts under the military. And so the money is being deducted as source from the Federation account. In those days, yes. But what I'm concerned, in my own administration, am I leaving any debt? Certainly not. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Certainly not. I have never borrowed money from any bank that I've never paid. The last money we took from Zenith Bank, about 6 billion, was which we paid down to about 4 billion. And every month they take 1.something billion.
I'd like to go back to the issue of health, or go back to the issue of infrastructure. One of the areas, apart from roads, where you have tried to also do some work is in providing tertiary health facilities. You did a 132-bed mother and child hospital. There's a renal center, cardiovascular and cancer center, etc. But I'm worried about the services provided in these facilities.
Yes.
Do you have an eye? Are you able to monitor to be sure? Because for some people, providing this facility is not the same as the service that they will get at those facilities. How concerned are you about the kind of service that people get in those facilities during your administration and perhaps even after you've gone?
First of all, what I really do put in ground to make sure that, first of all, the facilities be maintained, and another thing, the services are given to the people. We said government was not going to manage it. And so we've had an agreement with what called a PPP, where experts who run hospitals, right, have come to manage the hospitals. And we believe with that, our people will get the best, and two, the facilities will be maintained. These are people who have had experience in hospital administration from overseas. What this company called Downnet, then to hospital administration and the rest of it. So we have had a robust deliberation with them, and council had approved. They took over the mother and child and the cardiovascular and cancer center, because that, of course, is a specialist area that you have to be very careful.
How is the funding done? How do patients have to pay when they go? Are drugs free?
Of course.
What part of it is a social service that the government is
providing? The truth of the matter, it will be difficult. Rather, I want to call it subsidizing. You cannot say that you are going for cancer treatment and the government will entirely fund. It is not possible. And I'm not going to tell you here that the entire service will be free. That is not possible. If it is free, those who will be managing the hospitals, how do they maintain them? But the fees will not be as much as where you're going to a private hospital, right? So that is what we're doing. We're happy. We're satisfied with the arrangement put on ground. The renal center, of course, that's the teaching hospital. So they are directly in charge of that.
That's the River State University?
Yes, River State University Teaching Hospital, where you used to have a Braithwaite Memorial Hospital. Even though government built that, but they manage that. It's directly under the supervision of the hospital, the teaching hospital management.
What can citizens expect, when they go to, in terms of the payment, or what can they expect to be free? I know that in some instances, government will say, patients, you pay for consultation, but your medication will be free. What exactly is the arrangement?
I don't like being theoretical. These are the kind of things people push government to do that is not realistic, it's not sustainable. As the charges in government hospitals are not the same in private hospitals. Why? Because government is involved.
Do you have an idea of how much?
Oh, no, that I can't. Okay. That I cannot, because I don't work in the hospital. How will I know how much they charge for you to go and buy blood and this? I wouldn't know that.
Okay, since we're winding down, let me just bring in different questions from different areas.
Yeah.
What is your relationship with the president-elect, Bola Tinubu?
Relationship is a president-elect. I've known him as a politician. I've not had any close relationship with him.
What about Labour Party candidate Peter Obi?
Peter Obi were the same party together. I supported him when he ran as vice presidential candidate under Atiku, and I even supported when he brought a candidate for PDP in Anambra. So I've known Peter Obi for quite a long time, so that I can say we have had a close working relationship and members of the same party too.
So do you expect your relationship with the president-elect to be perhaps the same or better than your relationship with the president at the moment?
What's my relationship with the president at the moment?
I don't know. It could be your working relationship,
political
relationship, whichever. You are the one who has the relationship.
No. You because for you to say to be better, which means you know the state of relationship I have with the president. You see, what I tell anybody is that relationship depends. you are the president. How do you want me to relate with you? As a citizen, I will respect Mr. President. As a citizen, I will criticize certain policies of Mr. President that I think are not workable. All right? So that's the kind of relationship. If I'm working with you, for example, I also have a relationship working with you and also maintaining that, look, you are the boss. So I have to relate with you in a cordial way and in an official manner. You see, it is not, we don't have private relationship. It's different. We have never had private relationship. Even the current president, we don't have private relationship. All we have is relationship between the president and the governor.
Perhaps that question,
and we'll deal with that.
Yeah. Your Excellency, perhaps that question that Chimelin asked is against the backdrop of some things you and several Nigerians have also said about the performance of the APC government. Now, another APC government is coming in.
Okay, let me answer you that. Let me tell you. Take me to any party. Party doesn't make me to perform. Party is a vehicle that conveys me. Take me to any party now. It will not stop me performing. It depends on you as an individual. It's not the party that makes you to perform or not. So you think I'm performing because I'm in PDP?
Not necessarily.
No, I'm only trying to tell you so that it's not party that makes you to perform. It is you as an individual that have to set up what do you want to do and how committed are you.
Which raises the question again of party philosophies. There are those who are wondering it's easy for politicians to jump from party to party because there are no clear-cut ideologies for each political
That's also
party.
different. I follow my party philosophy.
What's your party's philosophy?
No, I say I follow my party. Does not mean that one, PDP says this is what we are going to do for Nigerians, for example, and I come into office. I may not have the capacity. It's when you're in the office that people will know whether they have capacity or not. People look at some people and say, no, he doesn't have the capacity. I remember when I wanted to be chairman of local government, I was not married then. Oh, how can somebody who's not married be chairman of local government? What does he know? This and that. When I got there, I broke the record. When I wanted to be governor, I said, we can't do this and that. Today, everybody says, we can't believe it. He has broken the record. It is a commitment. It's what you want to do, what you feel about the people. Take, for example, I'm talking to you now that we're going to commission project. I'm leaving in the next 2 months. Why am I still doing that? Why? It's because of the commitment I have. I'm still awarding contract. Why? Somebody said, why are you doing that? I said, look, they need this. Why should I not do it? The money is there. Why should I keep it? So someone I assume that is not the man's own idea.
Your Excellency, Chamberlain said the other time that we'll be jumping from issue to issue because there are too many things to discuss and too little time. But there is this concern that I'm pretty sure you're aware of, primordial sentiments being raised here and there. You have been a very loud and vocal voice to the nation. How do we begin to heal these frayed primordial divides in the country? The Vice President talked about this as far back as 2019, and it will seem like now it's even more gaping, more fragmented a nation as that we are now than ever before. How do we begin to pull these things together since you already said the unity of Nigeria is important?
Take, for example, one of the primordial sentiments, so that we'll be able to now tell you what we should do. Take one issue of one of the primordial sentiments that is being raised or is being dividing the country today. I'm just asking you. So I'll be able to tell you.
No, at least there are two. And you talked about it earlier. Ethnic sentiments and religious sentiments.
Fine.
You also mentioned it earlier.
And that's what I've always said. See, it's also maturity. It's also the training. What your mindset. I was discussing with some people the other day. We're all together. And while we're discussing, this person has changed. He started speaking his language. I got offended. I said, why are you doing this? We're all four here discussing issues. Now, don't you think that I feel something that there's something you don't want me to know? That's why you have changed the general language that we are discussing. Some people, even in general meeting, in a general official meeting, knowing that three of you, for example, you speak one language, for example, and you forget that I don't understand your own language too. Now, in order to convey, you will start first of all discussing those matters in your own language, which is not good. So my concern is that that's why it requires leadership. If you have a leadership that says, listen, we can't continue to do things the way it's been done, people will follow. You heard what Obasanjo said the other day when he appointed Soludo from economic advisor to Governor Central Bank, and then the Minister of Finance too, Ngozo Konji-Iweala, from the same Igbo area. So somebody walked to him, said, why are you doing this? And he said, what kind of discussion is this? So are you sharing competence based on where you are coming from? Now, if it was not that kind of leader, he would have maybe bought the idea. And what he said, look, I want people who help me do this job. I want people who help me do this job. Now, with such people, and you are working with him, you will see that you too will begin to discard some of this primordial sentiment. It's not only in Nigeria, generally, even where you come from here. You are making appointments. You will see somebody come to you. They are giving this into the whole of this area. What of our own people now? I said, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by our own people? Am I not here? So it is something that it is very difficult, but something we can work on by educating. It is very, if anyone tells you it's not a factor, it's a serious factor. And language is a serious barrier that divides. Language is a serious barrier. You know, you don't feel comfortable just like we are now. We are discussing issues. Then all of a sudden you block me out. You feel somehow, what is going on here? And these are people who are supposed to be enlightened. These are people who are supposed to be educated. They are not even divided.
I imagine, because oftentimes they always say that it's politicians who also do this. I imagine that you must have been worried about what you heard. I don't know if you heard it. It happened in Lagos, where people, in some places, they were profiled ethnically and were prevented from voting.
Look.
Did that worry you?
I have told you that so many things you hear in politics. So many things. I'm not saying it did not happen. Not am I saying that it happened. But nobody has been able to give him the proof. Look, the kind of things I hear that even involve some of us, you begin to wonder, when did this take place? I'm not saying that it did not happen. But I will not accept hook, line, and sinker without any proof.
Okay,
in election period, you hear all kinds of stories.
Okay, so let us assume, but assuming that were true.
It is worrisome. Assuming it happened, it is worrisome and it should be condemned. But not only condemning it, we must take action.
What sort of action should we take?
Well, it's unfortunate whether if you prevent me from voting, that of course, you can't be charged to court. Why would you prevent me from voting? So if somebody prevented from voting, for example, you can report the person. And again, even if you do, sometimes too, I don't want to go into the issue of the role of police, what they should do. That would be a different issue. It can take us days, you know. So we should, like I also said, for me, if you have a strong leader, some of these things will be changed. Well, we need a strong leader. That is all.
All right.
For this country, we need a strong leader.
Okay, there are two things before we go. One is, we have 2 minutes. We hope we can do this. We've seen successors turn against their predecessors in politics.
Yes, yeah.
Would you be worried if that happens to you?
Why? Is he serving me? Was he born to serve me? He was told to serve the state. The problem we have, or leaders have, is that, look, you You succeeded in supporting the person to be in office. Right? What you did, is it for him to fail or to succeed? He wants you to come into your house to be taking orders. He wants your wife to go into time, do this is what I want to do, not what. You see, once you have left office, you give yourself that respect. I say, I have done my own. If he wants my advice, it's okay. If he doesn't want my advice, it's okay. But for me to begin from day to day, telling him he must do this, he must do that, that is not acceptable. So that's why people fail. They get, oh, you know, after I did this, see what you have done. Okay. It's one time to send me to jail.
So we need to go now. When will you launch the Royal Madrid Academy?
When will it be launched? It has been launched. They have employed the lecturers and the rest of them.
Things are going on there right now?
Yes. No, I think they have started this, is it July? Is it July? Yes. The academy said they will start in July. You know, we had a problem about girls. In fact, at the initial time was boys. And so there was this outcry. Why will you just say only boys? And so, okay, we have to build another sex, which is the same place. It's okay, hold on, let's build for the... So it is now a mix, so we have boys and girls and now. So at least, even though the number of girls is not quite encouraging, but at least let me know we started something. So they're all going to start at the same time. So launching it, we have already launched it. So it's a matter of starting the academic section.
So by July,
yes,
this will kick off.
Yes.
All right, we do thank you for your time. We've been speaking with His Excellency Nyesom Wike, Governor of Rivers State. Well, that is it today on Sunrise Daily. We came to you live from Port Harcourt. Thank you for watching. I'm Chamberlain Usof. Goodbye.
Thank you. I'm Maupe Ogun Yusuf. Bye.
And I'm Ayo Makinde. Remember, we are one Nigeria.